Hi, this is the bad boy, Joey Janela, and you're listening to the Going In Raw podcast. Joey Janela always goes in.
This is the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, and you are listening to Going In Raw.
Hey everyone, Kenny Omega here. In case you didn't know, we have an awesome kick-butt show called Steve and Larson's Going In Raw, and they're going to be supporting AEW every week amongst many other things. Goodbye and smooch. Good night. Bye-bye.
Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson, and available wherever podcasts can be found. If you're listening to the sound of my voice right now, leave us a review, rating, or a comment if you're listening to this on a podcast app. If you're watching us on YouTube, hey, leave a comment. Let us know what you guys thought about AEW tonight. What was your favorite part? What did you like? What did you hate?
Brodie Lee's the answer. Lee's the answer to the best part.
Brodie Lee, hey, is that the comment you're going to leave? Brodie Lee is what you love?
Brodie Lee is best.
All right. Double thumbs up right there. So, yeah, and then, of course, we're taped live at the Twitch at twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. So, yeah, we had for our subs and channel members and patrons today another episode of Friendo Club TV where I lost my shit and rage quitted on you for NBA 2K20.
So tonight we had an episode of AEW Dynamite before the show happened. The scheduled, what I would assume be the main event, it was going to be Mox, Will Hobbs, Darby Allin taking on Archer, Brian Cage, Ricky Starks. That was canceled, replaced with Mox versus Eddie Kingston for the AEW Championship because Archer, he's ill. He's got COVID apparently.
He's got a new opponent, Larson. He's spun off into a different story. This opponent is it's COVID.
So he put a tweet up about it, explaining the situation. Let me pull that up real quick.
Yeah.
It says, when I returned from our last show, a family member was ill. When I got home, I found out later a friend who had taken my family member to the vet for a dachshund was COVID positive while at home. Now I've also gotten sick, tested positive. I feel okay. Expect to see me in 2 weeks. So first, wishing a speedy recovery to Lance and his family. The main event they booked instead tonight, Mox versus Eddie, was kind of like sitting there waiting for him anyways, because Eddie, he was never eliminated over the top rope at the Battle Royal. He's been saying for weeks that he wasn't eliminated. Whatever Lance has, he should have too. So he kind of got it tonight. Eddie and Mox, they have a history, which was alluded to, referenced, and made for a fun main event. And then Ricky got out there for the attack after the main event. All in all, though, it was a reasonably good show. Needed more Brodie Lee. Honestly, 2 hours of Brodie Lee would be my preference. He is one of the three best things in all professional wrestling right now.
Yeah, Brodie Lee is absolutely terrific, man. He's the best. Probably a bit more related to that, I guess. The return of Cody. What popular culture reference? Isn't there like what's a kid? Is it like the Addams Family or something? Who has like super dark hair like that?
The lead singer of My Chemical Romance.
Who am I thinking of? Eddie Munster. Thank you. Who is that?
Yes.
Locomotive. Thank you for knowing that. Hey, he looked like Eddie Munster.
He did. So it looked like he hit the Just for Men a little too hard.
Yeah, a little bit.
But it's not his natural, like he has dark brown hair.
Yeah.
And this, was like emo Cody. Or Eddie Munster Cody.
It's Eddie Munster, man. Cody returned. He took out basically the entire Dark Order. He got Brodie Lee pretty steamed. He got a great promo talking about thirst trap pictures on Instagram.
Man. It was so good.
This is honestly, man, I'll be honest with you. Cody at this point has go away heat with me if he thinks he's going to take that title back off of Brodie Lee. That makes me really sad. I really don't want that to happen. I hope they find a way to make him look strong, but just keep him away from that title, damn it.
It doesn't make me sad. It makes me mad.
Mm-hmm.
Brodie Lee, as I said, is one of the best three things in all professional wrestling. He might be the best thing going in AEW right now. He's that damn good.
Mm-hmm.
And the only, maybe, so I don't think they put all the belts on one person. The only acceptable substitute, they take that TNT title off him, that means they're putting the world title on him.
Yeah, it's probably...
I know it doesn't, but that would be the acceptable
Probably
substitute.
not the case, but that'd be pretty great. Shane's birthday tweet here in the Twitch chat says, Cody looks like Peter Parker when Venom took over him. Exactly. So that happened. We had the in-ring debut of Miro in a match that may or may not have been thrown awry thanks to what might have been either really good selling or a legit, like, a busted ankle for a moment anyways. Because that's...
Well, I don't think you could just bust an ankle for a moment.
Well, you know what I mean. Like he might have
like a
tweaked
sprained
it.
ankle.
Yeah.
Sprained his ankle. Yeah.
Bust is,
I don't know.
Last I checked, bust is not an actual medical term. I just use it to mean that he got hurt.
Well,
for
it's a euphemism for breaking it usually. Anyways, at the finish there, he seemed me moving around okay.
Yeah, I know. So I'm hoping that it was just a sell job, but like after that happened, all of a sudden things started getting really botchy. Like Kip Sabian got launched over the thing, and he took an awkward spill. You can hear Joey Janela saying, "Are you okay? Are you all right?"
Yeah.
And then he came back. Janela came back over and just didn't land, and it was just a mess. It was kind of a botchy mess. So yeah, that was a little awkward, but still, it was good to see Miro back in the ring. So that was cool.
Yeah, definitely is. What else happened tonight? More of the ongoing Kenny Omega Hangman Page saga. Let's talk about Brodie Lee for an hour. There was an awkward Tully Blanchard interview. Still not exactly sure what the point of all that was.
We got to see Ivelisse and Thunder Rosa in the ring again, and with the exception of when they first had a bit of an encounter, it seemed relatively. Man, did you see I hadn't noticed the little sequence that Matthew from Botchamania, the GIF that he tweeted out, or he retweeted anyways, of when during their last match, Ivelisse was just sitting there. Thunder Rosa comes up behind her to like try to get her, and Ivelisse was just sitting there acting so like not into it.
She's like doing this, right?
Yeah. So yeah, we got to see a little bit of that. Anyways, we can just like hop right into it. We'll talk a little bit about late night Dynamite and a little bit about Dark after we talk about the main show here. Or we could talk about, like, really quick, we can talk about Late Night Dynamite since that preceded it.
All right, yeah, we can do that. Let me scroll down to my notes here.
Let's see here.
So Jericho's on commentary. He had a great blazer, too. He's got a collection of great blazers. The first bout, Ben Carter versus Scorpio Sky. I hadn't really seen Ben Carter before. Dude is super fast, pretty darn athletic. Seems like he's really young. He's got a lot of potential.
Yeah.
They should probably sign this guy.
Yeah, they should. I'd kind of be partial to him going to New Japan and go through the Young Lion thing, though. That'd be even cooler. Yeah, they totally should. If they have the opportunity to sign him, they totally should. Because everything that he showed in this match, and then I watched his match against Lee Johnson on Dark, and Lee Johnson's pretty great himself. But yeah, now this kid has everything you want out of a wrestler. A clean slate, man, love to see what they could do with him. I wonder if AEW, they have been very, very good at bringing people in. I mean, the entire company was started, like the majority of the roster started with guys who already had their characters in place for the most part. On the indie circuit, they have a lot of great talent they feature on things like Dark, and they have done a decent job of building up guys. Like, for example, well, I don't know about building up, but giving some personality to guys like Silver and Reynolds. They've done similar, like with Wardlow. Originally, Wardlow was going to be something different than he ended up being, but we still haven't seen him be fully fleshed out beyond just being MJF's. But there's been flashes of it. I don't know. Like for me, I wonder if New Japan has been so good at their Young Lion system, where you're Young Lion, you go on excursion, and then they debut with they re-debut you with, like you get Jay White, a Switchblade, you get the Ticking Time Bomb when he debuted, all these really great characters and concepts that they come up with. It would be interesting to see if AEW would be able to do something similar with somebody whose moveset and whose in-ring ability is already so on point with like a Ben Carter, as opposed to just saying, hey, what do you want to do? Go out there and do it. Sometimes, a little bit of more, I don't know exactly how New Japan does it. I don't know who came up with the Switchblade character, but whatever they do over there works. So it'd be interesting to see how AEW would approach somebody like that. Yeah,
definitely. This match was fun. Ben Carter put up a good fight against Scorpio Sky. However, Scorpio Sky hits a TKO to get the win. Next match, Anna Jay versus Brandy Rhodes. Of course, this was because Anna Jay choked out Brandy Rhodes the night that Brodie Lee defeated Cody for that TNT title. Anna Jay gets the win here. She's helped somewhat by some distraction via Uno and Stu Grayson. And she gets a win via rear chokehold. Brandy passes out.
We had a Scorpio Sky interview. He puts over Ben Carter. He's going to go after that TNT title. Matt Sydal steps in, and Sky mentions that Spears is looking for revenge since Sydal was the guy who eliminated him in the Battle Royal. Wishes him luck, and they have a very friendly relationship. That's a feud that'd be kind of fun to see. I don't know exactly where, what they're really like. They were teasing like a tag team, and they keep on mentioning that Scorpio Sky is all about his singles run now because he was just in a tag team. So the only thing they could do besides the tag team is a feud. So unless they're just friendly for that one moment, I don't know. After that, we had Brodie Lee. A hype package for the match that we had tonight: Brodie Lee versus Orange Cassidy.
Really well done.
And then we had the main event: Matt Sydal versus Sean Spears. Of course, AEW is so good at continuity, man. Matt Sydal comes out, he wipes off the ropes before heading up top, hits a top rope Meteora, gets two with that. But yeah, this is a fun match, dude.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun. Matt Sydal's really good. He does all sorts of fast, crazy, super athletic aerial moves. But even just like in some of his mat-based stuff, it's just so quick.
Oh, yeah.
So at one point, Spears, he rolls out of the ring. He's sitting in a chair. Sydal hits a running drop kick, knocks the chair over, grabs the chair, brings it in the ring, and he's posing with the chair. So the rest deal with that. So Tully goes over to Spears, loads up the glove. Loads up the glove. So Sydal goes up top, goes for a shooting star press, misses that. Spears goes for his Death Valley driver C4. Sydal escapes that. It kind of goes for a roll up, and Spears punches down, bang, with the loaded glove, follows with C4 for the win. Afterwards, Spears is setting up the clock. Sydal again with that's the left hand, the loaded glove, bang. But Scorpio Sky runs out to make the save before he can do it.
Yep. We had another Ben Walker. Let me see. Let me take a look at I did not write down the actual results from Dark because I was just I watched like a little bits and pieces here and there. But there was another. If there was any match on there, I'd say check out. It's definitely the Ben Carter versus Lee Johnson match. That Ben Carter, he's gonna go play. He's only like 22 or 23 years old.
That's crazy.
And honestly, the fun thing about Dark, I mean, this is one reason. This is one thing that AEW is just so great at. It's just, and we've talked about this a lot before. It all starts at the top, like you noted last week. You got Tony Khan sitting in a gorilla position, wearing like a baggy T-shirt, some flip flops, and some shorts. That sort of spirit of just casual pervades especially Dark, and we've seen this before in little clips here and there with commentary. But after Ricky Starks has his match against Chris Daniels, he heads over to commentary, and everybody's just cracking each other up. They're sort of floating in and out of character here and there, but by and large, like, it's a really good team. You've mentioned this before. Veda Scott, she's really good.
She's really good, yeah.
And yeah, it's just it's a lot of fun, and so like just how loose it is, and it's the kind of thing that you won't get in WWE. It's really, really good. So anyways, let's see here on Dark. We had a lot of matches. Dark, this is one thing, like Dark was an hour and 40 minutes. That's like, but that's like the length of a Dynamite.
It is.
You had Dark Order, Stu Grayson, Evil Uno versus Fuego del Sol and Rembrandt Lewis.
Great names.
Yeah. I mean, dude, honestly, like some of these guys, they're doing what they can to stand out, you know? And that's what's so fun about watching some of these matches. Obviously, the Dark Order here picked up the win, but this is fun stuff. You had, like I said, Chris Daniels versus Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks won there. You had the Butcher and the Blade versus Puff and a poor guy named Calvin Stewart. It's the best. It's like going to a high school gym show, you know?
Yeah.
That's what you think of. And that stuff can be so. This guy's got like a donut on his belt buckle, man. It's terrific. It's absolutely terrific.
That's great.
Let's see here. We had, let me see. I'm going to go to the next round here. Oh, by the way, I'm getting these results through Sportskeeda. A lot of places, all the websites have results, but Sportskeeda by far is the one that doesn't have all these ads just, permeating and screwing up my rig here. Let's see here. Will Hobbs defeated Serpentico. Will Hobbs is great. It's fun to see him with a smaller guy. We had Dante Smiley and Max Stardom taking on the Lucha Brothers. Who do you think won that match, Larson?
Lucha Brothers?
Probably, yeah. It was the Lucha Brothers. Not probably. It was definitely. We had Ryzen and Xander Gold versus Dark Order's 5 and 10. Dark Order won that one. Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss versus Kevin Blackwood and Daniel Garcia. Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss won that one. The Gun guys, Austin and Billy Gunn, versus Mbadu and Cruz. Honestly, like, so much of this was fun just to listen to Taz and Ricky Starks talk about these guys during their entrances. Gun Club wins that one. Women's action, Serena Deeb versus Kylan King. Serena Deeb won that one. And then Ben Carter versus Lee Johnson. Ben Carter won that. And then Eddie Kingston in the main event beat Brian Pillman Jr. So
I mentioned that. Is that where Kingston got that giant bruise on his back?
Yeah. I didn't see the bit that happened, though. I sort of skipped through that match. So anyways, there's your dark results. All right, before we continue, here's a word from the sponsor of today's show, forhims.com. Hey, Larson.
Yeah?
Is that hairline of yours moving backwards? Because 66% of men start losing their hair by the age of 35. But I'm here to tell you that the best time to prevent even more hair loss is to do something right now while you still have some follicles on that dome of yours.
Well, Steve, thanks to the wonders of science, hair loss can be optional. It's time to write a new chapter, one where you have hair. Hims helps guys be the best version of themselves with FDA-approved products to treat hair loss.
Hims connects you with licensed medical professionals online. All you got to do is answer a few questions to see if FDA-approved hair loss treatments are right for you. If approved, products are shipped directly to your door. That means you can say goodbye to awkward in-person doctor's visits and long pharmacy lines.
Today, Hims is giving you their best offer yet. If you're not happy with your results after 90 days, Hims will give you a full refund. And right now, Going in Raw listeners can get their first visit absolutely free. Go to forhims.com/GIR. That's forhims.com/GIR.
Full refund of price paid available for first 90 days supply. Refund request must be made between 90 and 180 days after product shipment delivered. Prescription products require an online consultation with a medical professional who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Remember, friendos, that's forhims.com/GIR.
Going to Dynamite, back to it. Show kicked off with Kip and Miro. Miro making his in-ring AEW debut against Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss. Before the match began, Sabian introduced Miro, called him the most handsome man ever, the best man. And then Joey and Sonny get a picture-in-picture promo. And Joey is essentially warning Kip not to marry Penelope Ford. He said, "I've been there, and that's a mistake waiting to happen." So this match was all right. As you mentioned, there were spots that were a little clunky. Especially after Miro seemed like he may have twisted his ankle or something. But Miro came back. There was a spot where Sonny, I believe, is the legal man, and so holding the ropes open so Joey can, I think, do a suicide dive through it. And while Joey's there, essentially revving up, Miro comes in, takes him, rams his head into Sonny Kiss's behind, sending Sonny over the top rope, and then kicks Joey, and then eventually Machka kick. JR called it an accolade still. It's now called Game Over, the camel clutch. And then Sonny tapped.
Sonny Kiss is like one of my favorite wrestlers to watch in the ring, man. He's so he's so fun. Like when he got that tag in, the hot tag, how he like did the thing where he like flipped over I forget who it was. Oh, it would have been Kip Sabian. Kip Sabian's back to get that tag. He's a lot of fun to watch.
Oh yeah, definitely.
After that, we had an Eddie Kingston promo. He explains why he's getting the title shot tonight because he was never eliminated. That's the kind of thing that WWE would have like run into the ground with never a payoff. And with AEW, it's like, hey,
like Chris Axel, they did do that.
Yeah, no, well, that's what I'm talking about exactly. Yeah. And so in this case, AEW, somebody's got COVID. We need a match. All right, well, this makes sense because he keeps on talking about it. Let's just do it. That's good stuff. So it basically, he has a promo talking about why he got the shot tonight. Calls Mox that he's in. We basically used to be the same, but he's a sellout because he went to the WWE, sold his soul, and he calls him out. He says, "Get out here." Mox comes out. They brawl. They get pulled apart. They're the main event.
Yeah. After that, we had Evil Uno versus Hangman Adam Page. Kenny Omega's on commentary, pushing the idea still. In fact, for the second week in a row, I believe Excalibur says this match was initially offered to Kenny and Page as a tag match, but Kenny declined. Therefore, it'll be Uno and Page in singles competition. Kenny goes on and on commentary about he's a singles wrestler now. He's done with the tag team stuff. And he wasn't so dismissive of Page's abilities as a singles wrestler this time out, though.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't a whole lot of talk. There was one mention of them getting tired. There was one mention, Kenny saying, "Oh, I haven't seen Page do that before."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No mention from Kenny. I don't recall, at least, of him saying, "Oh, this is normally the spot where I'd come in and save him, or I'd get the hot tag and lead us to victory." There was none of that stuff tonight that I recall.
Mm-hmm.
Fun match, though. Page ended up getting the win following a buckshot lariat. He didn't seem as interested in searching for Kenny this time post-victory. In fact, he just kind of looked at ACAM, and then after Kenny excused himself, commentary booth, as Kenny was going through the tunnel, Page just kind of did this. Just kind of turned his head slightly, as if to say, "I wonder if he's still over there." I don't need to look.
After that, we had, let's see here. Tony trying to go interview the Young Bucks, and he's kind of worried there. The same thing that happened to Marvez might happen to him. Matt answers the door. Tony flinches, and Matt's like, oh, you just flinch? We're not going to do that. We go back a long ways. Matt says, "You know what, man? A lot of people have been bugging us about this stuff." Says, "We never should have super kicked Marvez and the referee." He says, "We've just lost a lot lately. Title opportunities, relationships with friends." Tony asks about FTR, and Matt's sort of beside himself. He's like, "Yeah, you could do better than that." Next question. Tony asks another question he doesn't like, and he's like, "Are you trolling us right now?" He's like, "Let me get your phone. Give me your phone." So Tony gives him his phone. He just starts smashing it against the wall, against the door jam. He's like smashing it so it all breaks. Gives it back to him, and he throws a wad of money at him. Says, "Here, go get yourself a new one.
Go upgrade." Our Lopez Ortiz in chat here says, "Crazy that late night Dynamite got over 500,000 viewers."
Yeah, dude. Started at 12:45 in Eastern.
Apparently got a better 18 to 49 number than Super Tuesday 2.
It was like 9th in the demo, I think.
That's crazy. That's pretty crazy. After that, best thing in wrestling right now, Brodie Lee defending his TNT championship against Orange Cassidy. This was by and large for the first 2/3 of it a Brodie Lee squash match. He was destroying Orange Cassidy. Why was John Silver having a bit of a fit ringside? I missed that part. Like right before the match started.
Oh, I didn't notice. I don't know.
I looked away and he's out there having a fit. Anyways, Adam J gets up on the apron to try to distract Orange. He puts sunglasses on her. Brodie just calmly walks over, takes him off, has a face-to-face with Cassidy, drops him on the mat. Cassidy does the
Orange Cassidy threw a shirt at John Silver.
Gotcha.
That's why.
Does the hands and pockets thing, sweet shin music. And then Brodie just stands there. Doesn't flinch. Doesn't bat an eye. Pops him with a shot. Tosses the shades in the stands. Like I said, for a while, he's just throwing Cassidy all over the place, destroying him. At one point, I mean, at several points, he's bullying John Silver, but one point in particular. So, early in the match, he yells at Silver to get his title while Silver is just kind of lingering around on the floor. Another time, he tells John Silver to get up on the apron and hold his belt up, pose. And Silver's there for like 3 seconds. Brodie comes over and just shoves him off the apron to the floor. It's fantastic. It's so good. It's so dang good. So there's a spot where Brodie hits a couple of half and half suplexes on Cassidy. Brodie picks him up. Cassidy collapses. Brodie picks him up again, sets up for a discus lariat. Cassidy collapses again. Brodie tries a lariat again. Cassidy collapses again. And then Cassidy tries to roll him up, gets a 2. This is when Cassidy starts to go on a run, hits a suicide dive, then another, strings together a good amount of offense. And then this brings John Silver into the ring. He eats a Superman punch and then allows Brodie to hit a powerbomb and then a discus lariat on Cassidy to get the win. And then the lights come down and like some sort of kind of ominous Tron plays with some kind of like choir type music, but it kind of sounds familiar. And not too far into it, I was like, oh, this is just Cody, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially when the lights start happening behind the kind of circular thing on stage. I'm like, oh, it's just Cody, isn't it? And the thing comes up and all the smoke and fog and stuff. And it's Cody. He's just got dark hair now and dark suit. And he comes to the ring, clears Dark Order guys out, hits Alan Angels with Cody Cutter, and then puts him in a figure 4.
Yeah.
I'm going to be mad if he gets that TNT title.
I know. I'm not going to be happy about that, dude. I'm not going to be happy about that at all.
Afterwards, Brodie he's supposed to be an interview. He just grabs the mic from Dasha and starts screaming into camera. He's like, the audacity of you, Cody, the audacity. You've been gone for 5 weeks while I've been here doing all the work. He says, what kind of man sends another man to do his work? Mentioning Dustin. And he says, what kind of man lets his wife post Instagram thirst traps while calling him daddy? And he goes, Silver, give me that thing. So he's got a dog collar with a chain on it. And he's talking about how, Cody, you've been running, but you can't run anymore. Someday I'm going to wrap this collar around that godforsaken tattoo on your neck. He said, you got 1 week to answer me. Are you a man or are you a coward? It was so good.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
Brodie Lee is the best.
That was good yeah. Sorry. So chat's like saying, oh, man, I like Cody. I'm glad that Cody's back. That's good. That's good. Worst stands for Brodie Lee. We are
100%.
Dark Order.
Yeah. Yeah, where do I sign up?
Exactly. I want to sign up right now. Oh, man.
Mr. Dub says, I don't hate Cody, but he does make it easy to make fun of him.
Yeah, he does. He totally does. He does. I don't actually. Here's the thing. I don't mind Cody. I just love Brodie Lee. I don't want that title leaving him.
Yep. 100%.
That's the thing. And I think Cody in his head is like, oh man, I'm the most popular guy, so I should come back. And he's so old school. I'll come back and, get that title back. And
you know what? If Cody is old school and he's a student of especially the NWA, how they used to do it, it was all about the chase for the baby faces. They'd get the title, and they get that title right off and put it back on the heel and get another baby face for the chase. Mm-hmm. That was Ric Flair's career.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if he's really a student of the game, he'll realize at this juncture, money's in people going after Brodie Lee, not people going after Cody.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe we're wrong. Maybe he'll... Maybe he won't get that title back.
One could hope. Or Brodie loses it and just goes on an absolute rampage.
Yeah, I mean, look, it'll all make for great being the elite segments.
Mm-hmm.
Poor John Silver. Anyways. All right, before we continue, here's a word from the sponsor of today's episode, NordVPN. Sometimes the internet can be a great place, but it can also be very scary, full of hackers trying to shoot on your personal data.
But you can protect yourself with NordVPN. NordVPN offers double data encryption and lets you browse the web in private because NordVPN prevents data logging. In fact, NordVPN will never track, collect, or share your data because they have a strict no logs policy.
And NordVPN is compatible with most operating systems, including Windows, Mac OS, Linux, iOS, and Android, and offers 24/7 product support and a 30-day money-back guarantee to ensure your satisfaction.
NordVPN also has a super handy and user-friendly Chrome extension. It provides unlimited bandwidth on super fast servers with up to 6 simultaneous connections.
And right now, Going In Raw listeners can get 68% off NordVPN, only $3.71 a month. Plus, you get an additional month free at nordvpn.com/raw or use coupon code RAW. So after that, we had a Matt Hardy private party promo where he basically says Jericho is his number one suspect. Because he's got a bat, and he says, the more things change, the more things stay the same. You want to be known as Demo God, the million viewer man, but you'll always be known as a asshole. And that brings the inner circle out, and Jericho reveals that Sammy Guevara is back as well, so he comes out, so they are at full capacity.
That bit was actually kind of funny.
Yeah. He denies that he would hit Hardy from behind. He says, I'm going to take your leg out. I'm going to do it face to face. Hardy gets all heated about that. He's like, I want to fight all you guys now. And Mark Quinn is like, hey, just calm down. Let me take care of this. Reminds Jericho, hey, I took you out last week. Cassidy's like, hey, I'll take over now. Lays out a challenge for Jericho, so they're going to have a match next week. After that, we had the aforementioned awkward interview with FTR and Tully Blanchard. Go ahead and talk about this a little bit.
So Tully says, so every week there are thousands of new fans that get to see the greatest tag team in the world. And so they get to see more of... So fans get opportunity to see more FTR. Tully is changing the rules. He said usually tag title matches, are 60-minute time limit. He's going to change that to 20-minute time limit.
Yeah.
And on top of that, FTR gets to pick their opponents. Mm-hmm. And just the phrasing of it, I was like, I mean, there's a reason he had a 60-minute time limit, because that makes the title bout feel important,
Yeah. Look, I mean,
usually it's like the TV title that has a shorter time limit.
I get it. This is like a heel thing,
Oh, I do too, but it just wasn't. It wasn't presented well. It wasn't presented well.
This is one of those things where, like, a guy is just saying this on the spot, and you would think there'd be some sort of backstage shenanigans to put this stuff in place. So yeah. Anyways, and then there's also the rule: if the opponent doesn't actually win, FTR gets the win. So I guess if it's like a double count out or something.
Yeah.
I mean, even in a DQ, there's a winner.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, it's really, it was confusing. So I was like, okay, if the other team doesn't win, then FTR wins, and I'm like 75% of the time, that's how it is, anyways.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So if there's a double count out, that's really the only difference.
I did like the brush with greatness stuff, though.
That's a good line.
You get a 20-minute brush with greatness. I thought that was pretty decent.
That is good. I think it was just the presentation of it wasn't the most effective. I'm just here watching this thinking, what the heck is. This doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, sometimes the philosophy of just go out and do it. Like, you need a little bit more than that.
Yeah. So Dax is wondering who the next challengers are going to be. It's going to be Best Friends. They're ranked number 1. The Young Bucks. Nah, it's going to be SCU. He calls Best Friends. Says Best Friends just want a glorified backyard wrestling match. This brings out Best Friends. Trent says last week it wasn't a match, it was a war. Says, yeah, we're a little banged up right now, but let's do this 20-minute challenge. Dax reminds them, hey, your mom isn't here to save you, but go ahead and get a ref down here. We'll start the match now. So FTR takes their jackets off, and they all get ready. And the Cash grabs the mic and goes, we can't do this. It's obviously you Best Friends aren't 100%. Wait a few weeks, get healed up, and give Tully a call.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, then Chuck grabs the mic and calls them weenies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know, I like that, because Chuck was always complaining on Twitter how much he wants to curse. He says weenies. So next up we had tag action: Ivelisse and Diamante versus Thunder Rosa and Hikaru Shida. I was just kind of curious. So there was like a little bit of a messiness when Diamante was not the legal person, but she was going for the pin. You see Ivelisse over there getting really impatient with that.
Yeah, she was like,
and I never know with her. I never know. Is she like legitimately annoyed right now, or ever
yeah, because
since
then
last
she gets
week?
on Thunder Rosa and is doing some ground and pound. I'm like studying every shot to see if it's
I know
worked or not.
Exactly. Like, because that sequence did seem a little bit awkward. Like, I don't know. But after that, like, Thunder Rosa and Ivelisse didn't really mix it up that much, like usually was the other combo. And so it was fine. Like, nothing else really seemed all that weird. Although the finish was a little bit weird. I feel like, so Thunder Rosa stops Diamante from hitting her finish on Shida. Shida then hits the Falcon Arrow. And that seemed like the perfect finish right there, but Ivelisse broke it up just for Rosa to do her little Shining Wizard finish. For the pinfall there.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it was a fine match. Hikaru Shida is so much fun to watch. Thunder Rosa is so great.
Oh, they're both spectacular.
They're both really, really great. I hope they do get like a rematch. I don't know. Maybe they'll have like a rematch in
NWA.
In NWA, because they're running stuff again.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
After that, we had a Chris Jericho interview. He's talking about Isaiah Cassidy. He says he has some balls. I got some respect for him. One day he'll be a huge star, but not next week, because next week he's facing the top star in AEW. And the only shot he's going to feel are the left fist and the right fist of the demo god. And MJF walks in. And he's like, I heard what Cassidy had to say, and it's deplorable. And Jericho just says, coming from you, Max, that really means a lot. And MJF says, from you, Chris, you saying that really means a lot. And they're doing that back and forth. And then Jericho's like, hey, Max, you're really great. And MJF says, no, you're really great. And at the same time, they say, why did you call me a loser? Of course, a couple weeks ago, they had that conversation out in the parking lot, and they're walking away. We see a split screen, and they both say, what a loser, about each other. Mm-hmm. And MJF says, I wasn't calling you a loser. I was calling you the limo driver's a loser, like, driving crazy and stuff. And Jericho says, yeah, I got a drop of latte on my leather pants because of the limo driver. And then Jericho says, I wasn't calling you a loser, Max. I was calling Tony Schiavone a loser. And they make fun of him. And then Jericho goes, you know what, Max? You're all right. And MJF returns the compliment. So I don't know where this is going.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. Where is this going?
I mean, maybe MJF is going to try to swoop in and take over the Inner Circle.
That could be.
Because he's talking about wanting to maybe join a faction. Not start, join.
Mm-hmm. That could be some fun stuff. That could be really fun. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know, like, they didn't really reference Jericho's quest. Like, he's got a singles match next week. He was doing this tag team thing for a second. I don't know if they're going to go back to that, or if Jericho's like, hey, I'm done with the Orange Cassidy thing now. Let's get MJF in here. Let me take on MJF, because that's a match that I think a lot of people would be into, like, big time. I'll be honest with you. I kind of want to see that more than I ever really wanted to see Jericho versus Orange Cassidy. Like the promos, or for that matter, MJF versus Mox. You know what I mean? Like, this could be a lot of fun, because it's basically Chris Jericho versus Chris Jericho in 1997.
Yeah,
this could be tons of fun. Are you hearing that, Maxwell? I just said this will be tons of fun.
Yeah,
all due respect.
Yeah, tons of respect. So next week, announced, of course, Jericho versus Isaiah Cassidy. Britt Baker will be back in action. FTR versus SCU. We got Ricky Starks versus Darby Allin. That'll be a good one. Mox is going to be there. And then next week, on the 7th, it's the 30 years of Jericho celebration. And then in 2 weeks' time, on the 14th, the winner of our main event tonight, Kingston versus Moxley, assuming he's cleared, against Lance Archer.
I didn't see that, the 30 years of Jericho thing.
Yeah.
There's got to be some gags in there about how they can't show footage from the majority of those 30 years.
I know. You got to get some Thrill Seekers footage, maybe.
That should be fun. Well, I think, yeah.
Is that in the Stampede? If that was a Stampede, they can't even show that, probably.
They can't even show that. Like, I know there are some Thrill Seekers matches on the network. I forget in what, like from where, but I know I've seen that. So yeah, that'll be fun. Somebody here mentioned, okay, let's talk about this really quick. So, Hardy said Jericho, his number one suspect is Chris Jericho.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be Jericho. Who's it going to be?
We got to assume it's not Jericho. It's not Sammy.
Right.
So this is a new storyline.
It's going to be, yeah, it's not going to be any of the obvious people.
Said he saw someone wearing a mask.
So Levy here has the same thought as I have. It'll be one of Private Party.
Yeah, I thought that. I thought that maybe we were going to see a turn tonight.
I would love to see that happen, because what better way to build up their characters a bit more than to separate for a spell.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That'd be fun. That
would
cool.
be fun.
Yeah.
That would be fun. Speaking of fun, we had a fun. Didn't get as hardcore as maybe I had thought or maybe had hoped, but it was still pretty fun. Hard-hitting match between Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley in our main event.
Those chops were enough to justify this match.
Oh,
that chop
man.
off was great.
Eddie just turning Mox's chest purple.
God,
Really,
and I'm sorry, but
here to here.
But if this match was decided via chop, it would have been Eddie by far.
Oh yeah,
because
easily.
Mox's were actually kind of weak.
Yeah. It started with the chop off, and towards the end there was another one. There was a lot of brawling on the floor, of course, and commentary did a good job mentioning that Mox's last opponent, MJF, was trying to avoid the floor altogether, whereas Eddie might actually have the upper hand on Mox in terms of brawling on the floor, and so they were brawling around ringside. They went to the stands a little bit, into the crowd a little bit. There's some back and forth. At one point, Mox hits a pile driver. Eddie just barely gets his foot on the ropes. And the one thing Mox was selling, like he had like a stinger or something, because a couple times he grabbed his trap, his trapezius, and so he's hitting some downward elbows on Eddie in the corner. He grabs his shoulder, his traps. Eddie power bombs him, 2 count. This next spot was great. So Mox hits a German suplex. Eddie no sells, hits a Saito suplex, and then I'm expecting the spot where they both are selling the moves. No, Eddie still gets up, hits another Saito suplex, gets a 2 count. I love that Eddie's finish is a spinning back fist. Mm-hmm. That's great. Mm-hmm. So he goes for that. Mox blocks it, puts him in the rear naked choke, and then transitions to like what is Captain's Hook, what Kendrick calls it. Mm-hmm. I believe Excalibur called it the Bulldog Choke. Eddie passes out. But as commentary said, and as Eddie said on Twitter today, he didn't give up.
Yeah.
So Lucha Brothers hit the ring. They start beating up Mox. Will Hobbs comes out. He annihilates Phoenix with a huge spine buster.
Oh, yeah.
That was great. Hits Penta with a forearm. Eventually, the Lucha Brothers hit Hobbs with stereo super kicks. Darby Allin comes out. He hits the Lucha Brothers and Eddie Kingston with his skateboard. This brings out Ricky Starks. He hits Darby with a spear. And then the heels stand tall. And, like, Ricky's taking the skateboard and, like, ramming it into Allen's throat and stuff like that.
I love Ricky Starks, man.
Oh, he's so good.
He's so great. That friggin' spear was awesome, too. So
Yeah,
people in chat are educating us on Eddie Kingston's finishing back fist. It's called the back fist to the future. That's really terrific stuff, man. That's great.
That was fantastic. Fantastic.
Yep. Let's answer some questions. What do you say?
Sounds good. Sounds good. Sounds good. Will Terminator just says, I love Dark Order too, but I also enjoy Cody. That's good.
That's good. That's totally cool. That's totally fine. That's good. I want Cody to go away.
I want Brodie to be top guy at AEW for the next 15 to 20 years. Is that too much to ask?
Spending millions of fucking Chili's money.
Oh, he's so good. Ed Fry says, I love Cody, but doesn't need to be back. There's zero reason for it. He's just done shooting that reality show, that competition show he was doing. So he needs something to do, I guess.
Hip Hop Hippo says, honestly, Ricky Starks might have speared Darby out of his emo phase. That was a nasty. It was just a great sell. But it was a really good looking spear too.
It was.
And they played his music out too, which made me happy because he's got the best music.
He's got good music. R. Lopez Ortiz says it's a shorter time limit, the FTR rules, because the opponent is for the opponent's a time limit draw, but FTR gets the win and not a draw.
Yeah,
I understand all that. I think just the presentation, the way it was delivered by Tully, was so convoluted. I get it's an idea for them to sneak away with a win in like heelish fashion. I get all that.
Yeah, we understand they're bad guys. They're stacking the deck in their favor. I think our problem with it is you got Tully out there. He just starts rambling this stuff. Like, I honestly, dude, I know that I'm sort of mixed on, do I want to see authority figures on camera? Do I like how they do Tony Khan? I'll be honest. I could watch some more. I could see some more Tony Khan on my TV. I would totally be fine with maybe a little bit of Tully, maybe just in the background of one shot.
Do you remember leading up to Kenny and Mox's match, that bit where Mox was right backstage and goes to Tony Khan's office to give him crap about how his match won't count? Because,
and you could just hear the audio.
That was great.
Yeah, it was.
That was fantastic.
Yeah.
Some more of that stuff. Not a lot because you don't want to overdo it.
Even just, dude, I'm telling you, just like in the background, you see Tully talking to Tony Khan, whereas while we're getting like an interview or some people talking.
Mm-hmm. Andy Jocelyn said, "Hey guys, can I get a birthday shout out? Just turned 35 today. Happy birthday, Andy."
Dang MQ here in chat says Sean Ross Sapp says a lot of AEW talent were missing tonight, but he can't get anyone on the record about it. Who was missing from the broadcast that's usually there tonight?
Tony was there. JR was there. Excalibur was there.
I mean, we know about
Archer.
We know about Archer.
Butcher and the Blade weren't there.
Well, they were on Dark, though. I don't know when Dark is filmed.
I think it's probably filmed last week.
Oh, do they film that? It's like a Kevin Nash whiteboard situation they got going over there.
Yeah.
Diehard Homer says, anyone remember when Steve loved Cody and how good he was as a storyteller? Cody was a really good storyteller. I think he still is a good storyteller. I think, honestly, the weakest story he's told is the story of his TNT title reign. The open challenge thing just wasn't all that interesting to me.
Scruff says, why was Colt out for the Uno match but not for Brodie? Brodie's not happy with Colt Cabana.
Yeah.
That's probably why.
Yeah. Let's see here. Adrian C. Anyone else notice JR refer to Sunny Kiss as she at least 2 to 3 times tonight? Sunny Kiss has said that he's fine with that. Therthabata, how will Death Triangle be dealt with when Pac is able to return? I want to be in your group.
I'm guessing they're not considering themselves with that right now.
I want to be in your group.
Because who knows when Pac is going to come back.
Let me in your group.
Gareth Nicholas, will we eventually see a 2-man power trip situation with MJF and Y2J? Maybe, but it's all about MJF trying to steal the inner circle from Jericho.
Ooh, Adrian C. speculates, says, oh no. No Brian Cage tonight. No Melissa Santos last night at Impact either. COVID confirmed. I don't know, man. That's none of my business. Nope. HIPAA violation. Yeah, Maggie says appreciation post for Miro's new gear. She says she thought it looked it suited his look really well. What'd you think of the shorts and the big kick pads?
No, I thought it looked great. I mean, the shorts weren't too different than what he wore in WWE. There was a period where he wore like not the trunks, but like the shorts that came to the upper thigh, which he had on tonight. But the kick pads were new. But I like kick pads.
I thought it looked good. I thought it looked cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
It looked comfy.
Flats, 2 questions. Does Brodie Lee love John Silver because he only holds the belt? And with Cody's return tonight and not the anniversary show, what's the big angle that's happening on that show? Are we going to see Kenny attack Hangman probably?
Okay, when is that? That's 2 weeks from now, right?
2 weeks, yes.
Yeah, they can't play. They can't let that one just hang too long, right? Like just endless. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be that or if Kenny's going to attack Mox. I mean, Kenny talks about, I'll wrestle when it helps my ranking.
Well,
I don't know.
I'll tell you this, Kenny, not wrestling is not going to help your ranking whatsoever.
Yeah, well, that's okay. So let's take a look. What is Kenny's ranking right now?
As a singles competitor, I don't think he's in the top 5.
AEW rankings.
While you look into that, Jorge D, didn't Matt Hardy, after All Out promo, imply he'd be taking time off to recover? He hasn't missed one show, but he hasn't wrestled in any of them.
He hasn't wrestled any of them, but yeah, I got the feeling that he was going away also.
Yeah.
What is he doing? Get out of here. Oh, wow, okay. So let's see here. We've got Lance Archer, number 1 with a 13-1 record. Brian Cage with number 2 with an 8-1 record. MJF at number 3 with a 9-1 record. Cody at number 4 with an 18-2 record. And interestingly enough, Scorpio Sky at number 5 with 8-2. Wow,
Yeah.
best friends are 16-6.
They've had a good year.
No kidding.
Diehard Homer, if not the main title, Kingston would make a killer TV champ. Yeah, you get him more established in AEW. He'd be a great TNT champion. Fear and Loathing, when not causing chaos in an AEW ring, are the Dark Order just like the Stonecutters? What a good Simpsons reference.
Yeah, that's right. That is good.
Maze and Rick, Brodie wins the FTW title. That's way beneath Brodie Lee. If it's not the TNT title, then it's a world title or bust.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let's see here. Over on the Discord, N Shive says, what other colors should Cody experiment for his hair? What other colors does Just for Men offer?
He should do his hair in the same color palette as his neck tattoo.
Oh, that's good. That's good. It'd be like Red Okada. I say because the TNT plate, isn't it silver? Or do they transition it to gold?
I think it's nickel and gold. I think it's both.
All right.
I think like the shiny part that the TNT's on is silver and nickel.
I would say that have your hair mimic the title you want. The only title he can have is the TNT title.
It was kind of like that when he was blonde, though.
Red, but red in it.
Okay, so red in the sides.
No, blonde is not blonde. No, it's got to be shiny silver or gold.
Well, I mean, blonde is kind of golden hair. That's my point.
Nah, it needs to be shiny gold. You can do that now.
Maybe. Anyways, but red around the sides and then like a circle of gold on top. Is that what you're advocating for?
And then the TNT logo right up
there.
Here.
You go. But he doesn't get that dyed in. He gets that cut in.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Zoe Conrana, do you think Eddie Kingston will ever have a title in AEW? He's so damn good.
No.
Probably not.
There's only so many titles for people. If they ever do a trios title, his chances go up quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, no. And that's okay. That's okay. He's serving a role.
Yep.
Schnauzer, how many times is AEW going to end with a locker room clearing brawl before they decide to change it up? Is that how it ended last week? What was last week?
I don't remember. It ends that way a lot, though. They have a lot of brawls to end shows.
Look, man, it worked for WCW.
Yeah. Bottom class, I agree, Cody would be much better off chasing the belt. I don't think Brodie should drop the belt until he is built up to take the AEW title. That's correct.
Cody. Who else should Cody feud with? Give him a feud with Colt Cabana.
There you go.
Have Colt have those stories intersect.
There you go. Have Cody start at the bottom of the Dark Order. You take on number 5 this week, then 10, then Silver and Reynolds, then Grayson, then Uno. You have to go through everybody.
But instead, at the anniversary show, I guess now we're going to have a dog collar match, huh?
Yeah, it's looking that way.
Man, 2 more weeks of Brodie with that title.
Zondo, just get some actor who is head of talent relations and isn't an authority figure, but is a messenger for Tony, the Young Bucks, or whoever.
Nope. I want Tony.
What if you get John Laurinaitis to play that role?
Yeah. That's good. Zoid was putting 2 long promo segments at the beginning of the second hour after that hot first hour drag for you. It made it hard for me to get into the rest of the show. I'll be honest.
There was a lot of talking. There was a lot of talking in this episode.
I didn't really notice that much. I mean, I'm sure I believe you, but I don't know. None of it really bugged me. What are we talking? Oh, Matt Hardy and FTR, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's somewhat atypical for AEW to have that much talking. Somewhat. Dang MQ, Mox is still the IWGP US champion. In order for him to defend the title in Japan, he would have to drop the AEW championship, fly to Japan, and quarantine for 2 weeks. Not sure Mox wants to do that.
You could. Don't they have shows here in America sometimes?
Yeah, but he can't wrestle any other televised shows in America.
Oh, yeah. Huh?
That's his contract.
That's right. Yeah.
Schnauzer, does MJF take over Inner Circle the night of Jericho's celebration and kick him out of the group? It's probably a little too quick for that. But something to mimic the Festival of Friendship would be pretty cool.
Yeah, part of me really hopes that Kevin Owens the contract's forever.
He's got another 3 years or 4 years.
I really want to see him back with Jericho. I was watching some of the old Kevin Owens Jericho stuff. It was so good.
It was good.
And he's really not doing anything in WWE.
No, he's not doing a damn thing. Ed Fries, do you guys feel like Mox's title run is missing something that the rest of his AEW run had, besides there not being fans? Before we start, a lot of people mentioned that, given the circumstances, he's had a lot of what you could call filler or placeholder feuds.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, really, he's only had 2, I think, really fully developed feuds. There was Jericho when he won the title, and then MJF after he had won it already. This is as champion. But like the Brodie Lee one, hastily put together. There was barely any build for Brian Cage. They were trying to do something with Archer, but Archer's out for a while. Kingston was a decent replacement. The Hager thing was just not very good. And that took, 3-4 weeks to build.
Yeah.
There just hasn't been a whole lot of sustained storylines. And some of that just might be circumstance.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the thing is, you just listed off a lot of them. It can't all be circumstance. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know if it's just.
Well, I mean, part of it was
he's very simple when it comes to wrestling. Like, I mean, just remembering his appearance on the Stone Cold podcast. You know, when he did that promo on the spot of talking about going after somebody's knee. I'll never forget that. I was like, oh, that's just super old school. I think that's just him, you know? I mean,
to a degree, that's true. Yeah.
The thing about AEW is that they allow their wrestlers a lot of freedom. We know that. They've said that. He's coming off a place where his main problem with WWE was convoluted crap. You know,
freedom.
In his mind, and if you listen to his promos, you can see this. It's very simple stuff. You find a hook, you do promos about it, you have a match, and you move on. He just might not be into more in-depth stories. That might just be his thing.
Yeah, that could be. I mean, some of the circumstances, obviously Brodie Lee, probably a replacement for, I'm guessing, Pac to be his opponent. It's his first real title defense. And then, in the build to his match with Cage, he had to quarantine because his wife got COVID. And they had to push that match a week. There was 2 weeks of build they lost for that. I don't know. It's probably a little bit. It's not just probably one reason, but there's probably a variety of reasons why it feels like things kind of haven't been as cohesive.
I've always appreciated the stuff that he's done with Darby Allin. His relationship with Darby Allin is pretty strong stuff.
Yeah. Maggie, thank you for gifting us up. Thank you. I'm just trying to do something besides Cody on the show. I don't know what this is. Besides Cody on show with Chris Smell, who from AEW could be a crossover star?
Does he mean Stephen Amell?
Maybe.
Who on the show can be a crossover star? I could see Mox being on Pacific Blue or Walker Texas Ranger.
Yeah, there you go. Ricky Starks on Silk Stockings.
That's a frighteningly good fit. Isalda says, is Moxley better to utilize to chase the title than to hold it? No, I actually think, I don't know. Look, I understand that like he's not the most intriguing guy in the world, but goddamn, he's a big name and they built him into a pretty big deal. Like,
Yeah.
he, thanks to his career in WWE, he's a big deal, and he's actually been the perfect guy to carry that, because with the way things are with the world now, you kind of need simplicity, like it's simple, it's stable. He's at the top. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with Kenny once Kenny takes it off him and they get into the Hangman thing. I think that'll all be really strong stuff. But, for all the crap that's going on, a stable, sometimes boring and predictable champion isn't the worst thing in the world.
Fair. Isalda says, I think Kenny is recovering from shoulder injury. He's had some issues of late. Yeah, I noticed he's had, I think, rock tape on his shoulder and stuff. I'm just trying to do something does correct. It says it was bad autocorrect. Stephen Amell is what he meant.
That damned autocorrect.
Yeah. Flat says Lance Storm is a free agent. He can come down and break a wine bottle over his head. And then White Brownie says here, Lance has said on the podcast they won't be traveling anywhere till it's safe.
Smart move on his part.
Maggie says, have you guys heard of the Heel show they're filming? Stephen Amell is going to be in it. Super curious to see what stories they tell. I'm sure Cody will pop up on it.
Yeah, no, we've heard about the show. I'm curious to know how it's going to be. Sounds cool. And then R. Lopez Ortiz says Mox mentioned recently that his plan was to defend the AEW title all over the world, but COVID happened. Yeah, who knows what could have been had the world not come to a screeching halt. Anyways, that's going to do it for our show today. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow at noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, live at twitch.tv/Stephen Larson for our NXT review. And it'll go up right after that on podcasts everywhere, wherever you get your podcasts, and of course on the YouTubes. So thanks for tuning in. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.
Be a part of the best pro wrestling podcast today at patreon.com/Stephen Larson. Enjoy tons of bonus videos, including patron-only live shows, gameplay, and vintage 10 for the wins, access to podcast question threads, the Friendo Care Package, and so much more. Support Going In Raw today at patreon.com/Stephen Larson.